Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was part of what was going on. And John was, then, he'd come back from America, but he was, as John Peel, he was on Radio London, which was an offshore pirate radio. He used to do this show called The Perfume Garden, which I first heard about from International Times, because my parents lived in London. When I wasn't at university in Liverpool, I would go home. I didn't stay in Liverpool with nothing much to do, living in a single room. I'd go home and get pampered, and then get my washing done, and then go back to university. Because I was all this time, I was having to show up to lectures and do stuff, And I was doing the regular, university folk club and all that kind of stuff, and going to the Saturday night gigs, all the usual university stuff. So John, on Perfume Garden, which I heard once he started doing it, he broadcast from midnight to 2 a.m. every night. And he'd started playing the stuff which was becoming increasingly important to me, which was the psychedelia. He'd play the Jefferson Airplane, he'd play Country Joe and the Fish, he'd play D'Antalion's Chariot and The Misunderstood, and all of these great underground classics, and Arthur Brown, and Elba Gantry's Velvet Opera, and all this stuff. And he started playing our album. I'd never been on the radio before, never heard anything on the radio that I'd been involved with. He'd play a track, but then he'd play one track, and then and he'd play a side to an album. He'd play poem after poem after poem, and it was all there. So I was back at home, and I knew he was doing this, and he'd do it night after night. He was very obsessed with it because it was Liverpool, that ticked the box for him. And he just, it was a decent album, it was fun. For its time, it really had got something to say. So, but the Peel thing was just simply that I was at home and I saw an advert in Melody Maker for one of those underground things, like probably Implosion or something, at the Roundhouse, and it said DJ John Peel. And I thought, I've got to meet this guy, because he keeps playing this stuff every night. And there was, obviously, I don't know what the band was, but it was somebody that I was interested in. So I went to the gig, and at some point in the evening, I sidled up to John, who was there playing records or, hanging about, and introduced myself. And he just sort of fell on me like a long-lost brother, and just loved the fact that, he was come round. So he was living in a basement flat at the bad end of the King's Road, down in sort of Putney, Fulham end. And he's still married to his first wife, Shirley, then. So I used to go round when I was back in London. And then he started visiting us up in Liverpool as well, and he'd come and sleep on the floor, sleeping bag at 64 Canning Street. And he became really integral to just the whole underground scene in Liverpool, and he through the sort of Asia Rogers, Scaffold, Liverpool Scene, the Poets, the Everyman, whatever, he tapped into all of that. So when he got a bit more profile, which came on the back of the Marine Offences Act, because they put the pirates out of business basically, towards the end of '67, this thing called the Marine Offences, which said you cannot broadcast. They were just outside territorial waters, but the Navy could come in and arrest him. So that just blew them out of the water, metaphorically. And he got his first gig, which was a show called Top Gear on Radio 1, which was a Sunday afternoon. It was a 2-hour show, and he shared it with Tommy Vance, about as incongruous a pairing as you can imagine. So Tommy did an hour, and Peel did an hour.
Love is feeling cold in the back of vans. Love is a fan club with only 2 fans. Love is walking, holding paint-stained hands. Love is fish and chips on winter nights. Love is blankets full of strange.
But by then, universities who had, a little underground show that they put on a Saturday afternoon, that sort of thing, they were inviting him to do, why don't you come, we're doing, Loughborough Tech, can you come and play some records and talk about music to us? So he would do it, and he said, you don't have to pay me, I'm paid by the BBC, but I want you to book these people. And it was a small clique of bands So by then, Liverpool Scene was going as a poetry band. That was me and Adrian and Mike Hart, Mike Evans. It was Tyrannosaurus Rex, Roy Harper, Davy Graham playing acoustic guitar. Wonderful, I mean, the great acoustic guitarist. Can't think who else. Principal Edwards Magic Theatre, they emerged from that. And so he'd say, you've got to book at least 2 of these people, and then I'll come and do it for nothing. So he really patronised a very defined area that were the Peel artists, you know. So we got work out of that, and that started breaking us, because when we first started playing as a band, which really happened on the back of my graduation. I graduated in July '68, and the day that I graduated was the day that Adrian Henry handed in his notice as a lecturer at Liverpool College of Art, and we became a full-time band. And then this lovely man called Sandy Robertson who'd got in touch with me before that, wanting us to record as a band. We were able to move along with that, and he got us signed to RCA Records, and we came down in September of 1968 and made our first album. Made in a day, made and mixed the following morning, you know. It was one day, that was it, you know. 2 3-hour sessions, and then a 3-hour mix-down session the next day, and back to Liverpool. And that came out, and it was Amazing Adventures of, and it sold really well, and you know, that started the ball rolling. Before that, it was, you know, a big deal if we played in Warrington. You know, after that, we were playing in Plymouth, Newcastle, and London.
Not to mention,
you know,
the Isle of Wight.
And that came a year later. By then, we were well established. Yeah, but Sandy was a great operator. He managed us, he published us, he produced us. He was, you know, he Svengali the whole thing into existence, and not just us. He had a stable of artists, but. He really put us on the map.
Tonight, at noon, supermarkets will advertise threepence extra on everything. Tonight, at noon, children from happy families will be sent to live in a home. Elephants will tell each other human jokes. America will declare peace on Russia. World War I generals will sell poppies in the streets on November the 11th. The first daffodils of autumn will appear when the leaves fall.